The atheists claim they don't have faith. Oh yes, they do, in their science, in the rational intelligibility of the universe. But half a minute, where's the evidence that that faith is justified? In their worldview, it doesn't exist, because their worldview is that human intelligence is simply the product of a mindless, unguided process. But if that's the case, why on earth would you give it any credence whatsoever? Why would you believe any thing that it produced? As John Gray has pointed out not so long ago, and he has said that, you know, the interesting thing about the evolutionary doctrines that these new atheists base so much of their worldview on is that they are geared to survivability, not towards truth. So why would you believe anything produced by an apparatus that is thrown up by such a mindless, unguided process? What am I saying? I'm saying, firstly, there is such a thing as blind faith. It is very dangerous in the religious sphere, but it seems to me that the atheists are coming very near to being guilty of blind faith when they trust the human mind for which they haven't a shred of evidence on their own hypotheses, in their own worldview, that it should be considered as reliable. In other words, scientists have to have faith in the rational intelligibility of the universe. The rational justification of that faith came originally from Christianity. Atheism simply doesn't have any. So this matter of faith, evidence and reason is something we need to think about very carefully. There is a final point to be made here, actually, and that is to bring in the word revelation. Sometimes faith and revelation are put as opposites, as diametrically opposite to revelation. But let's think of revelation firstly at the simple human level. Here's Aunt Matilda and she's baked a cake. Scientific analysis cannot tell you why she made the cake. You'll never find out unless she reveals it to you. But if she reveals it to you, that doesn't mean you shut off your reason. Indeed, you'll have to use your reason to understand the content of her revelation. That's absolutely obvious. And you can check by using your reason whether what she reveals to you made sense. If she says she made it for her son Jim, and you know she's a son Jim, then that makes perfect sense. At the higher level, it's exactly the same as this. The Bible claims to be revelation. Now, I believe that that is the case, but an atheist reading it doesn't have to start by believing that. They simply read it as data. And any data requires reason to even understand it. I have never yet met anybody, Christian or not, who can read the Bible without using their reason. So to say that reason and revelation are opposed is to make a fundamental category mistake. The issue is simply this. We get data from nature, we use our reason from that. The Bible claims to be a revelation of God. It claims to be God speaking. We use our reason on that. What is being claimed, though, is that there is certain information in Scripture that unaided human reason could not on its own gain. But what we are certainly not saying is that that revelation is against reason. Of course, it's nonsense. It proceeds from the source of all reason, God himself.